The average American household loses over $400 a year in spoiled dry goods, flour, rice, beans, rotting inside packaging never designed to protect them. Before 1955, that problem barely existed. Families sealed everything in glass, ceramic, and metal. It worked for centuries. Then food companies erased that habit. What was replaced, who profited, and how you fix it. It starts with the two threats already inside your pantry. When a paper bag of grain sits in your pantry, a quiet process begins. It is not bad luck that ruins the food, it is simple physics. Researchers at the USDA Cooperative Extension and University Pest Management programs point to two specific pathways that destroy dry staples: moisture ingress and pest infiltration. Paper and cardboard are porous, they breathe. In a humid kitchen, water vapor from the air passes right through that thin paper barrier, creating a microscopic damp zone inside the bag. This moisture triggers mold growth and causes the natural fats in your grains to break down and turn rancid. The second threat is often already waiting on the grocery shelf. The Indian meal moth is the most common pantry pest in the country, and its life cycle completes in just 6 to 8 weeks under normal indoor temperatures. A paper bag offers no resistance to these insects. The larvae can easily chew through paper and cardboard or simply crawl through the folded seams, but this damage is entirely preventable. According to USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service guidelines, sealed dry goods can easily last 1 to 2 years if they are protected from the environment. The problem is that modern paper packaging stops offering even basic protection the moment you pull the paper tab. To stop both pathways of failure, you need a physical barrier that water vapor and insects cannot penetrate. Glass, glazed ceramic, and metal containers do exactly that. They create a sealed environment that keeps moisture completely out. Back on my grandfather's homestead here in Tennessee, we did not need a laboratory to tell us this. We knew that keeping the air and the bugs out was the only way to protect our food. For generations, American kitchens handled dry staples with simple, heavy barriers. Our pantries were lined with glazed ceramic, stoneware crocks, heavy tin cans, and glass mason jars with solid metal screw lids. These containers were built to be washed, refilled, and used for decades because keeping moisture and pests out was a basic rule of survival. The shift away from this durable system began during World War II. In 1942, the War Production Board issued Order M81, restricting civilian use of metals and glass to conserve materials for the war effort. Forced to adapt, companies like General Mills and Quaker Oats redesigned their packaging. Internal corporate records show they phased out reusable containers in favor of disposable paperboard boxes and paper sacks. But what started as a wartime necessity quickly became an industry standard during the supermarket boom of the 1950s. Self-service grocery stores demanded uniform, stackable packaging that was cheap to manufacture, light to ship, and fast to stock on shelves. Moving from metal tins to paper cartons slashed corporate packaging costs by 15 to 20%. It was a highly efficient logistics solution for a packaged food industry that today operates at enormous scale, with dry goods making up nearly a third of $1 trillion market. But it quietly shifted the entire burden of food protection onto your household. By replacing a permanent sealed barrier with a cheap, porous paper bag, the system established an unspoken cycle. Your food spoils, and you have to go back to the store to buy it again. When you bring a bag of flour, rice, beans, or grains home from the store, the very first thing you must do is get it out of that paper packaging. Do not wait for the pests to find it, and do not wait for the humidity to ruin it. Transfer those dry goods immediately into clean, dry glass jars, ceramic crocks, or food-grade buckets with gasket lids. This is not about aesthetics or turning your pantry into a hobby project. This is about protecting the food you have already paid for with your hard-earned money. For smaller amounts, you do not need to spend a dime. Repurposed glass jars from spaghetti sauce or pickles, once washed and thoroughly dried, cost nothing and provide a perfect hermetic seal that pests cannot chew through. If you are storing in bulk, head to the local hardware store. A plain 5-gallon food-grade bucket costs about $8 to $10, and a white plastic lid with a rubber EPDM gasket runs another $2 to $3. For roughly $10 to $13 total, you have a heavy-duty, airtight system that blocks out moisture and insects entirely. Once your dry goods are transferred, write the contents, the purchase date, and the use-by date clearly on the outside. Then, find a cool, dark place to store them. You want a temperature between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit away from direct sunlight. My grandfather always said that a well-managed pantry is a quiet shield against hard times. By taking 15 minutes to move your food out of the cheap paper designed to fail and into a real physical barrier, you stop the waste cycle immediately. You reclaim control over your kitchen, and you keep your money where it belongs, in your pocket. A retired school teacher living in rural Pennsylvania reached her own breaking point when she lost an entire 50-pound bag of flour to an Indian meal moth infestation. Opening that heavy paper sack to find it crawling with webbing and larvae was a wake-up call. It wasn't just a waste of food, it was her hard-earned money thrown directly into the trash. She decided to stop trusting the grocery store packaging. She gathered second-hand glass canning jars and obtained food-grade 5-gallon buckets with tight gasket lids. For 10 years now, she has stored every ounce of her dry goods using this exact method. The result of her decade-long experiment is zero losses to pests and absolutely no spoilage. By keeping her staple grains completely sealed away from moisture and insects, she estimates she saves between $300 and $400 every single year. That is thousands of dollars kept in her own pocket over the decade. It is a quiet, daily proof that the simple physical barriers our families used to rely on still work perfectly today. This isn't a modern survivalist trend I cooked up on my homestead, nor is it a temporary fix. For thousands of years, keeping food alive was a matter of life and death, and every great civilization knew the exact same rule. In ancient Egypt, scribes managed massive state grain reserves stored in heavy clay vessels, sealed tight with wood and bitumen lids to keep out the damp air of the Nile. The Romans refined this, shipping bulk wheat across the Mediterranean in heavy ceramic amphorae plugged with wax, storing their reserves in elevated, stone-walled public warehouses. Centuries later, American pioneers relied on the very same physics. They packed their winter flour, beans, and corn into thick stoneware crocks and heavy tin canisters, using tight-fitting lids to endure the harshest winters. Across every continent and every era, the cross-cultural law of food preservation never changed. You seal it tight and you keep it cool and dark. The disposable paper bags lining modern supermarket shelves represent a brief, dangerous departure from thousands of years of human survival. We traded a permanent, protective barrier for cheap corporate convenience, and we have been paying the price ever since. Everything I have documented across this channel, the food, the water, the seeds, the land, is being collected in one place, the Lost American Home Manual. Get on the early access list now at earlhadley.card.co. The link is in the description below. Tell me in the comments if you have ever opened a bag of flour or rice and found it ruined, and tell me what you already have at home that could be repurposed into sealed storage today. If you believe a habit that protected your great-grandparents' pantry for generations should not have been replaced by a paper bag designed to fail, you already know what to do. Next time, I'm going to show you the hand-dug well filtration method that gave American farm families clean drinking water using nothing but sand, charcoal, and gravity, and the reason most people today have never even heard of it.